All right. 4 o'clock on Thursday. It's time for the Real Estate Happy Hour show.
Hey, we're here. And we're live.
And you picked the music.
And it's Thursday. And I've got a friend upstairs. Her name is ABC, Caitlin Brassfield Gorey. She loves this Barbara Mandrell song.
So we're taking requests now.
Yeah, and she's actually younger than me. So I was country when country wasn't cool.
Man, that's you.
Barbara Mandrell.
That's
there it is.
Oh, man. Man, Barbara Mandrell. I remember as a kid. Do you remember when she got in a car accident? It was the first person. Oh, sorry.
There we go.
Well, I remember. She's the one that I think about when I wear my seatbelt. I don't know if you remember this, but I remember as a kid, when we were growing up, we crawled over seats. They didn't buckle us in. But this woman,
the floorboard.
Yeah, no big deal on the hump.
Yeah.
Well, she goes like a mile from her house and gets hit and almost dies.
Uh-oh.
And so I remember thinking, man, like it matters how far you are from your home. Like that matters.
Yeah.
But anyway, Barbara Mandrell.
Barbara Mandrell opening up. So thank you, Caitlin, for that suggestion. We love it. We got a lot of good stuff today. A lot of information up top. We're going to talk about some tips on mortgages for first-time home buyers. We got a little Blue Moon today, a little Belgian White, and we brought back the old favorite. The Trey Fava group, koozie there. And then 10 things sellers let slip when they prep their house for the market. I've got a great comparison on retail stocks in the personal finance deal. But starting out, listen, some terrible news for the Auburn family. Today was the memorial for Rod and Paula Bramlett.
Man, what a story that is. I mean, and you know what's really funny is I remember when I got of course the group texts go around, being an Auburn grad and all my friends. What was really interesting was the relationship that I didn't even know I had with the guy, right? Because over the years you just take it for granted, but it was almost a comforting when you heard his saying, like, "Oh, that's my boy," right? I mean, that's ours.
Yeah.
And then when you hear this, it's a shame, too, because, by all accounts, I watched a little bit. By the way, if anybody wants to hire somebody to give you a eulogy, Bruce Pearl, brought the house down today, down there.
Well, I tell you, and I've got a 16-year-old driver, and the accident was with a 16-year-old driver. There was no alcohol involved, so, they're assuming that, texting or whatever was involved. So, man, it's just not, you can't caution somebody enough on being careful and taking time learning how to drive as a 16-year-old. There's so
Don't look at the girls.
to learn.
Right?
Yeah, it's just, and that kid's, obviously the two people died in this accident, but, he's going to have the rest of his life is going to be very difficult with this as well.
Well, I hear a lot of people talking about, and this is where I put my lawyer hat on, is I'm glad they're taking the time to find the answers and find the facts because, I caution everybody, let's don't jump to conclusions on this kid because accidents sometimes happen, right? Yeah. It might be his fault, but also he might not have been doing anything. But let's wait till we get the facts, and then the authorities will let us.
Just a terrible situation for the Auburn Tiger family, for their family. So we just wanted to mention that.
And I hope we get a good play-by-play guy.
And I did happen to look on the top 5 calls from Rod, and one of them was the kick 6.
It's been my ringtone all week.
Man, and I can't believe how long ago that was. November 13th, 2013.
5.5 years.
Yeah, unbelievable.
You know what? That's a moment like 9/11 for me, Challenger. I will remember where I was and how mad I was. Oh, my God, I'm happy. This is the best thing ever, right?
Yeah.
And do you remember? I just remember watching the YouTube videos after that game, sometimes overlaying Rod's voice, but watching different people's reactions because it was all like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
And oh, my God.
Unbelievable. And excitement, people just going crazy. Anyway,
moving on.
Listen, the football schedules have been announced. 8:31, first game of the season is going to be Alabama versus Duke. The first time since 2014 that Alabama has not been in the primetime game. They're playing in the sun in the afternoon at 2:30.
Serves them right.
Right?
Serves them right.
Unbelievable.
It's the end of an era.
You know who they picked for the primetime game? Auburn.
Why not?
Auburn versus Oregon. So there you go.
Well, Auburn's got a tough schedule. I mean, for them to run this gauntlet, I mean, again, you plan these years in advance, but geez.
And you think this is Malzahn's swan song, or
probably? I'm not a huge Malzahn fan at all.
He's going to win enough games. Moving on, China trade war. Okay, big deal. I didn't know this, that China was one of the largest sources of rare earth minerals. They account for 35% of the rare earth reserves.
Well, you and I were talking about this, and my reaction to you was, these rare earth minerals go into a lot of important stuff, and your response was they go into things like...
Yeah, car motors, electronics, major weapon systems, a big deal. U.S. military equipment is a big...
We're relying on China so we can potentially have a foe.
Yeah. So the DOD, Department of Defense, was, kind of waving the flag saying, hey, let's not do this.
Hey, how about we be nice?
We need to build some weapons. So anyway, 35%. They produced 70% of the rare earth in 2018. I just thought it was interesting.
I think 2021 of those did a story on this, and I need to find that one because that is interesting. It's so complex. The world is so... While I'm not a one world person, that we need to have a global economy, it's one economy, $1, whatever it may be. But we got to really understand that for us to have the quality of life we have here in the United States, we do have to rely on China and these other countries there. Now, Trump in the last week was correct, in my opinion, when he was talking about the fact is, China, we don't need you for low cost labor. We'll go to the Philippines. We'll go to Indonesia. We'll go to India. We have alternatives. It will be tougher for China to recover in the long run.
It doesn't sound good.
It doesn't. None of it's
good. We're looking elsewhere for low cost labor.
Absolutely.
Well, just want to welcome ABC, Anna, Caitlin, Brassfield. Just joined. We played your favorite song already. You missed it, so you're going to have to back it up.
And then everybody's favorite, the Alabama Hammer.
The Alabama Hammer. Kristen McGee was on earlier. Appreciate it. Michael Bruno, Howard Cannon. But yeah, ABC is going to have to back up and watch her favorite song from Barbara Mandrell.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, moving on. Backseat buckle bill. I just read this today. Alabama Hammer.
Backseat buckle bill.
We'll probably be researching this, but we now have the backseat buckle bill required to buckle in the backseat. It can only be a secondary violation, meaning if they pull you over, then they can give you a ticket for that.
So they have to get you for speeding, right?
Yeah, they have to get whatever. I mean,
they have to get you for something else and then do it. Now, has the governor signed it yet?
I don't know, but I think what I read said it was good to go.
Hey, the Hammer did, and Howard Cannon just going back to the minerals. He says we won't mine minerals. Well, that's
now that is partially true. We don't have near the reserves that China has, but yeah, we will probably have an uphill fight for mining it because of the eco whatever.
Yeah. The ecological?
Yeah, whatever it does to the
You're the guy from Georgia Tech, man.
Yeah. So that's it. Moving on. Interest rates, real quick. I think this is hilarious. We see the headlines right now. Okay, today, yes, average rates dipped below 4%. First time since January 2018. 3.99 on a 30-year. 3.46 on a 15. But all the headlines I'm seeing are rates are tumbling. Mortgage rates are crashing. Let me tell you, on March the 28th, 2 months ago, the average rate on a 30-year was 4.06. That's only 7 basis points different from today. That was 2 months ago. So I love how the media likes to spin it. I love how they like to dramatize.
They're picking their window. They're picking their window in which to.
But okay, so yeah, they're going to make it sound a lot better than it is. Look, rates are great. I also heard another guy this week, Barry Habib. Great mind in our business, always has
Habib.
Been. Came out and said that he thinks he projects that mortgage rates will be lower than we've ever seen here in the next 12 months. So that's beautiful. 7-year ARM at 3.18 yesterday.
That was Slocum saying that. Now, you talked about the ARMs yesterday. Now, what is that in terms of the spread? So what would he be looking at on a 30-year on that? In other words, if he were to compare that 7-1 ARM versus a 30-year.
A 30-year, you're probably going to be at 3.875 on a 30-year. So you're taking a chance, So
really, he's got about
you're going to have to make pay off your mortgage in that 7 years.
There you go. 3.75 is right around there.
So-
now, one thing that I would, though, say, and you've talked about it before, is that while you have the 3.18 ARM, he's really where he's going to have to make back is he's paying so much more principal down. It's really not 7 years. He has about 9 or 10 years, right, before it starts affecting him on the backside, because he's paying that much more principal down than he would at that 3.75.
Well, it may not be a tremendous amount because all the interest is front loaded, right?
Gotcha.
So you are going to be paying more principal, but you're paying a lot of interest in that first 7 years. So if you were making large principal payments, then yeah, you can make some.
He doesn't go hunting for the little dough. He goes for shooting for the big buck.
That's right.
Anyway, moving on. David, we got 8 tips about mortgages for first-time homebuyers. So we're going to talk about mortgages, and if you're a first-time homebuyer, quite frankly, this can apply to anybody, really.
Absolutely. Some things that many people don't know, especially first-time homebuyers, is that a 20% down payment is not required. There are a lot of options out there with less than 20% down. Slocum's probably not looking at these. He doesn't know anything about less than 20% down.
He's probably 50.
But they're out there. A lot of people get into this thinking that you have to put 20% down, but it's not the case. Now, on the back of that, this number 2 said there are thousands of programs to help homebuyers make down payments.
Well, there's plenty, but you got to find them.
Well, here's the deal. I feel like if you look at the nation, there's thousands of programs. If you look at Alabama, there's not. I mean, each state has their own, let's say, bond program. Okay, and in Alabama, we have an Alabama housing loan, which is a down payment assistance, which this is referring to. There are some income limits on it. I think they're $96,000 for house, actually borrower income, qualifiable income. So if you're under that, then you can get that down payment assistance from Alabama Housing, which is a great deal.
And you got concessions. You can get the down payment gifts from your parents, friends, whatever.
There's some grants also associated with that Alabama Housing.
Yeah. Dave & Buster's gift cards or reward cards aren't really accepted very often.
Yes, and Slocum's got questions about those rates, but see, if he had called a good loan officer, he would have had answers, right?
Answers right now.
The hammer. Dropping the hammer. He's probably going to drop the hammer pretty soon.
If you're not careful, your mortgage applications can hurt your credit score. We've talked about it a lot.
I think this is funny. Okay, look, if you're not willing to have your credit pulled, then there's one or two people. Either you've got great credit and you know it, or you have troubled credit and you're worried about mortgage pulls hurting your credit score. All right, if your credit score is low enough to where mortgage pulls are going to hurt your credit score, you need somebody to look at it and give you advice. This article that I forwarded to Collier said to pull your own report and give it to your lender. We're not gonna do that. So it just doesn't do me. It's a waste of my time to look at your credit report. I need to pull my own because that's what I'm used to looking at, and that's how I give you advice. I mean,
absolutely.
It's just
everybody's individual.
Yeah,
it really is. We got a question for you.
Jumbo loan number now, impact on interest rate. Interest rates are still competitive on a jumbo loan. I think it's over 485. I think is the jumbo loan.
And
so
if you were to buy in the 500, 600 range, would you be doing a hybrid on that instead of a jumbo?
Yeah. So really, it's the each situation, because you might be able to get a 480. Let's say it's 484, I think right now, a first mortgage and then a small second mortgage to avoid that jumbo. And really, a lot of times on avoiding jumbo is really more of guidelines, and sometimes it's interest rate, but the jumbo rates are competitive. But sometimes guidelines and employment, like self-employed borrowers, certain types of income. There's a lot of overlays on those jumbo loan programs.
Because they're scared.
Yeah, because it's their loan. It's not a Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. It's not a, hey, if I get tight on my books, I can get rid of this loan because somebody else will buy it. No, they're keeping all of those.
Crazy. Moving on.
Understanding lender fees and shopping around can save you money.
Hey, you love this one.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, this kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of these other things, which is how much you really know about the mortgage business and how much time have you put into it, because plenty of lenders can confuse you with different things to where you don't understand. But if you can get to the simple thing of two things, interest rate and lender fees, if you can just look at those two things, then you can really do yourself, you can really get a great deal.
Well, and I always say, don't just go. Once you get to the lowest, it's kind of like, when you're shopping for a car and you find the lowest. Why are you stopping? Go back to the guy that you went to before or that you felt most comfortable with and give him a chance.
Exactly. You do want to work with somebody that you trust, that you feel good, that is going to close the loan. I always say, man, look, it is great to shop. We know that interest rate and fees are important.
Would you say too, it's not I don't want to use the word upset because he doesn't get upset, but what frustrates you is when that person skates to, say, Rocket Mortgage or wherever they're going, and they don't give you the opportunity to go, yes, but let me tell you about.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, we provide advice, right, for free a lot.
Right.
Slocum will not say that.
Well, no, but Slocum also is a guy that go to the guy. There are plaintiff attorneys that will take your case for 20%. Right, but a good one's going to go, but I'm worth 40.
Right, but my point is that we have a lot of clients that call us after the fact. Before they get a lot of information from us in the home buying process. They get a lot of information from us as past clients, and we don't continue to charge money. You have like an asset with us, and that should be
worth something
of some value. And then closing on time is such a big deal. I always tell people that. You don't know you're with the wrong mortgage lenders until it's too late.
Well, that's the biggest thing about Mortgage Bank, regardless if it's David or it's Ben Chenault or whoever it may be, or Bruno. It's the people behind y'all that make y'all really look good.
Yeah, and it's working with somebody who is accountable. If you're calling a call center in
Paducah, Kentucky,
then they're most likely not going to get that upset if your closing gets pushed. If you're in Birmingham, Alabama.
No, they don't have to see you.
On closing day and your kids are crying.
Would you want a guy that's like 6'8", like Howard Cannon, coming down and going, where is my loan?
It's going to take him longer to get to Paducah, Kentucky.
Yes, it will take him. Actually, I don't know because he fishes around the country and hunts and all that. So he may actually be going through there.
So getting back to this, I do want to explain APR real quick. APR is a number that a lot of people don't understand. They ask for it. They have no idea what they're asking for. Your APR is a combination of your interest rate plus the fees associated with obtaining financing, which would mean lender fees, mortgage insurance, things like that. So they blend that number and give you an APR.
Total cost of the loan.
Okay?
All right.
So if you're asking for that.
You may not need an appraisal.
Yeah, number 5, you might not need an appraisal. I've actually seen some mortgage companies here locally marketing this as a benefit, like you don't have to worry about an appraisal coming in low. Most people want to know that the house they're buying appraised for the price they're paying.
Might help.
Some people don't care, but I think it's a smaller percentage. Next one, if you close quickly, you could score a lower interest rate. I love how they phrase this too, because some of these things don't apply to most people, and if they don't apply to most people, then I write them off. So I wouldn't bring this up. But sure, 30 days versus 6 months. If you're closing in 6 months, you're going to get your interest rate is going to be worse than closing in 30 days. I mean, because we have to lock that.
Could be better though if you don't lock it.
If you don't lock it. I mean, we have to commit that money. Next one is you should pre-qualify for a mortgage, but should still shop around. Okay, here's one thing I'll say about this. You get all your information from one person, and you get pre-qualified, and then you go shop around. Now, that's fine. If you go back to that person, give them a chance.
That's
like
key.
You mentioned earlier.
That is because quite frankly, I don't think you would fault them. I mean, truly, if they're going to save $8,000 or $5,000, whatever it may be, you can't fault them. But the problem is, it's not that the loan officer, they have to figure a way to make that happen. It's not like the rates. Somebody's cutting somewhere to make that happen because the spread between these mortgage companies is not great.
And in a public service announcement, the loan officer does not make any more money based on the rate that you're charged.
That's true.
Okay. All right. The loan officer comp rule was written a couple years ago, however long it was. So, we're not allowed to make a bunch of extra money by charging higher rates.
In other words, it pays to own the company, right?
Yeah. And another thing, especially here in Birmingham, okay, if you get a pre-approval letter from a lender like Mortgage Bank and you send that with your offer, the listing agent feels confident that your financing is in order.
Well, I mean, it's like
we sent the letter.
Right. If we see one with a stagecoach on it, we really have no idea.
So if you get under contract and then you switch lenders, you're doing the seller a disservice because now you're going somewhere else and they're not sure if you're going to close on time.
And one thing we're seeing,
that's just an example.
I don't know if you've seen this lately. We're seeing more and more some of these lenders that I will say, not questionable, but not the most popular, if you will. But they're not researching which product to put their client in until after we're under contract. And it's a contractual term of what loan program you're going into, right? Because I may not want a buyer that's in VA, FHA, right? For whatever reason. But seller doesn't have to care. He can choose. But what's happening is these lenders aren't doing that up on the front end. And they're waiting to the back end going, he's going to go VA now. Mm-hmm. And that's doing a disservice so many ways.
Yeah. So anyway, the last one is educating yourself about the home buying process. Please do. Google it, read some books. It's a lot to learn. For most people are not equipped or want to go to that much trouble to learn.
But there is so much.
But hey,
the internet's so vast. I mean, for crying out loud,
you can definitely save yourself some money, though.
You can
definitely save yourself some money, and you can also work with the best people. So, just do that.
This guy, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Just do it.
Yeah,
just do it. Moving on now to look. We normally don't have where we have 8 things of this and 10 things of that, but we do today. So 10 things that sellers let slip by. In other words, they forgot about doing that when they were getting their house ready to hit the market. And because, we've talked about the things that you should do. Now we're talking about the things you should do and you forgot about. So, first one, focus on the areas around that front door.
Number one, huh? Focus on the front door.
They are looking at that front door.
Strangely, like when you pull up, what do you look at first?
Front door. That in the mailbox, but
you're looking for the front door. I mean, you see everything else around it, but I think when your vision pans, you stop on the front door first.
Yeah,
right?
And it's what invites you to it. I know this sounds silly, but remember, 90% of that buying decision right now is made by a woman, right? Women buy on emotion. I'm not saying they're emotional, but I am saying they buy on emotion. I buy on emotion.
Here we go, FCC.
I'm buying on emotion when I'm at Best Buy, right? I go, I need that curved TV. I really don't need it. There's Amanda. Hello, Amanda.
Amanda she might have caught that.
Yeah, we're not moving for 3 more years. Anyway, so really focus on that area. Flowers are good, potted plants, just something, the coloring of the door. I mean, what a thing when you can have a contrasting color, something to that effect.
Yeah, or any kind of ornate fancy door, big metal door. Yeah.
Well, I tell you what I don't like. I do not like on those front doors screen doors or
what about glass insets? Glass insets, yeah.
Yeah, it's
nice.
Glass insets. Hey, look at you getting all fancy on us.
Next is pressure wash roof.
Yeah.
Pressure wash the roof?
Well, you get a lot of
who was up there working a pressure washer?
Well, Slocum's hoping somebody gets up there and falls, right?
Yeah, but he's got a case.
But you
Sandra
got
Battles, thank you.
Mold, mildew, all that gets up there. You have curling shingles, those type things.
Man, I remember when we went to Bermuda, it was like a social status to have a clean roof because they actually collected the rainwater. It ran down the roof, and they had gutters that.
So you were cool.
Directed the water. So it was actually a status symbol to have a clean roof.
Absolutely. And what color were they? Were they pink?
White.
Yeah. The sand was pink. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
same thing. Roof, sand.
Same thing. Hey, depersonalize the exterior of the home. Look, so many times you have heard people talk about depersonalize inside. I kind of take a different approach. People want to buy a home, have some pictures of the family and all that. But on the outside, it's not as close of a relationship.
Don't have any pictures in the front yard.
Yeah, don't have any pictures. No. Look, if you want to have a gnome or you want to have a statue of yourself.
An Alabama elephant.
Like you have one in your front yard it's really Adonis, but you've put your face on it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's flexing.
Holding the globe.
Maybe not.
Is that wrong? Would that turn people off?
Yeah. I mean, what they don't want to do is they don't want to look south on you, right? So anyway.
Number 4.
Checking that driveway and the sidewalk for cracks.
Bumps and cracks.
Yeah.
And then I guess if you have some, then you'd call somebody to to fill them in or do some type of work to
Well,
repair them?
it depends. I mean, really, how bad
they
is
are?
it?
Yeah.
How bad it is? You want to make sure they're not very wide.
Tammy Hallman's tuning in.
Look, hey, she doesn't like bumps or
Now
cracks
we're
either.
a big deal.
Yep. You know, she's one that, hey,
It's official.
when you're pushing that stroller, nothing worse.
Tammy, if you don't love the intro song, when you back this up and watch it,
Look, country isn't
will.
cool.
You will.
Anyway, next one. You forget, you leave for work, you got a hot house, it's going to be tons of showings today, and you make it look like a dark dungeon instead of opening those shades.
Open the
And
blinds
curtains.
and the curtains. Yeah.
What are you doing?
Don't forget that.
What are you doing? You got to do that because people want to have a happy house.
And number 6, neutralize. And I've got this problem. Neutralize foul odors.
Is it you coming from you or is it?
It's the cats. It's
Oh.
mubs, as Tammy likes to call them. Foul odors and make sure the house smells fresh for showings. Absolutely. I mean, and I'm talking about animal odors. That's obviously can cause some problems in showings. Animals in general.
Yep.
Being in the house during showings.
Yeah,
That
I
can't
mean,
be fun.
look, and everybody's allergic to cats apparently, but they're really not, by the way. But it's kind of like the peanut allergy thing, because you're offended by cat haters. But
I love them.
anyway, but foul odors. I mean, the other thing, that's why we talk about doing things like, one of the simple tricks, if you're going to have a lot of traffic, take a little vanilla extract, put it on the light bulbs. Now, light bulbs aren't burning as hot as they used to with the incandescents, but
Hey, a little vanilla extract on the bulb.
it makes it smell like the cookies are baking.
Very nice.
That was worth the price of the show.
Number 7, gather warranties for appliances. Look, I love this one. Even though, I hang on to those books, I'll never pull them back out and read them. But, hey, it looks good.
Very organized.
If you could give a stack of them and say, hey, here's how everything works,
I will say this,
whether you
though,
look at it or not.
David, has ended up happening,
I will
though,
say.
as technology has gotten so, like in our houses, I mean, my gosh, everybody's so important that they got to have 9 cameras and this and going and everything, right? Alarm systems and everything else. What's happening, though, is a lot of this stuff, like, say, a Ring doorbell.
We're gonna charge extra for that.
Yeah, it needs to be reset, right?
Yeah.
It's nice for you to hold that back so that you can reset it, right? Can I reset the Ring doorbell? Can I reset this camera? Can I attach it to my Wi-Fi? The darn pad on the outside, like, out of your garage, that is probably one of the most used questions. And I can't tell you how many people are still using the same code that the people before them and the people before them, because no one knows how to change it.
Yeah. And nobody's going to come back and break in their old house.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried.
Next one is sweep the garage, basements, and other unfinished surfaces.
Yeah, who wants to walk around on a bunch of
Yeah.
debris inside a garage?
But Tammy knows I just swept my garage this weekend.
Well, that's exciting. You always have a project going
It was
on.
exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
Memorial Day, big
Man,
big
little
things
Bed
to do.
Bath & Beyond, little Home Depot.
little garage sweeping.
Hey,
You know,
you're domesticated. But
Covered
yeah,
it.
but it matters. Look, there's a lot of places. Here's a tip, a little nugget.
another one.
Yeah, another one. I'm
Along
bringing the
with the
bacon.
vanilla.
Yeah,
Along with the
yep.
vanilla.
Look, we talked about the buying decision being basically 90% women, right?
Yeah.
Women are only going to look at that HVAC unit and that furnace and those type things, water heater. It's not their, it's not their jam, right? I mean, they want to be back upstairs looking at everything.
You jam right.
Yeah. So what's going to end up happening is they're going to go out and look at that thing one time. And if it's messy, greasy, all that, they're going to think something's wrong because they're only going to look at it that one time. Clean that up, put a little 409 on it, clean it up because mama needs a clean.
Yeah, and let me back on top of that. When they look and think something's wrong, they think the worst. Okay, they think that something died here and we need an exorcism. I mean, they go. So don't avoid that. Okay, avoid that. Organize closets and drawers.
Yeah. I mean, we say so often that, well, the problem is they're going to think that you don't have enough room in that closet or whatever.
Yeah, don't make it look like we cleaned up the house and just shoved it all in and then put all our weight against the door to close it.
I was in a house today. I mean, the clothes were up, but Imelda Marcos, if you might not know, it's a shoe reference. Imelda Marcos threw up all her shoes on the floor. Now, the woman looked like she had nice shoes, but it also looked like
A mess.
a mess, and there was no room
Bring
for
your
her
brain.
shoes.
It's a mess.
All right. The next thing is even after you list it or before you list it, check the Zillows, the Trulias, all those things for any errors that may be on those websites. Your agent can help you with this once they have it activated and listed, but you need to go on there and make sure, because there are times, because remember, Zillow is not going to proactively remove or on their own remove things. You got to be proactive, and so does your agent, to make sure that what they're seeing is accurate to the house today. Because look, it may not have that addition you added and all that. You need to make sure all that information is updated. And Tammy has another good one.
Tammy added on, organize your kitchen drawers, not dresser drawers.
Yeah. The underwear drawer is in great shape.
Yes. But, hey, I guess people will rifle through your kitchen drawers.
Well, you know what's so funny? Guys do this all the time. As an agent, it drives me nuts. But B, I get it. But guys go into these kitchens. Tammy may be able to tell you this. Is anytime there's a soft closed drawers, we'll catch the guy back there going, throw it as hard as they can, and then watch it just ease right on in. And I'm like, dude, we got to keep moving. He's like, yeah, but this is, I was thinking, man.
Entertainment.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, listen, that's it for that. For those of you guys that are still stick around, and on the replay for you that have watched this long, beautiful information here from Dollar General and Gap, okay?
Two stores that go together.
Two retail stores. So I went to Dalton, Georgia last Friday.
For graduation.
So if anybody has gone from here to Dalton, you go up 59, and there's a little curve on 24 through Chattanooga. Always packed, okay? So we went a different route, beautiful, through Sablina. I think that's how you say it. Sablina, Georgia. Small town country. It was beautiful. One thing I noticed coming back is there was a Dollar General about every 10 miles.
Big time.
And who's competing with Dollar General in the country?
And Dollar
Nobody.
General owns somebody else, too. Do they own the Dollar Tree?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But listen, so I was like, Dollar General's everywhere. There's no competition out here. There's no Walmart.
So right? in your head, you're stock picking.
So I'm loving some Dollar General. So today, Dollar General reported earnings, okay? Sales were up 8%. The stock today was up 7%. They announced a repurchase of $200 million of common stock. 1.7 million shares. The symbol is DG. You can thank me later. Share price is $127.
It's amazing to me how many companies like this are not splitting anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be we saw it every
day.
day.
But they're repurchasing shares instead, which that takes shares out of the float, which that means shares available to the public.
Before you get to Gap, though, talk about why people are shopping at Dollar General and not at these other stores that are being hammered.
You know, I mean, obviously, I think Dollar General right now is making hay in these markets where there's not a ton of competition.
And maybe not as much online.
And what I really like, about, and I don't even think online could beat their pricing. I mean,
because you got to ship it to them, and you got
to. And I think heading into, you know, if we're 12, if we're 24, however many months we are away from a recession.
Man,
if I was picking
negative
a company,
Nelly over here.
If I was, I mean, that everybody else is saying that. I'm not. I certainly don't call it a recession.
Never a recession.
If anybody else is recession proof, I would think Dollar General could make it.
It's just the same thing we talk about craft beer versus Budweiser. Budweiser's a great recession play, right?
Yes.
Because people are always going to drink beer. They're just not going to drink the expensive stuff.
Yeah. So then I saw another headline was Gap. Okay, Gap Inc. reported the stock is down 11%. Earnings are only 24 cents a share. The same store sales were down 4%. Revenue was $3.7 billion. So all of their numbers were worse than analysts were anticipating, which, you know, that's kind of expected with retail. And, you know, there's this big push with Stitch Fix is one of them. There's a couple of other companies that'll put together clothes for you.
See, that's what's scary.
Send them to your house. So that's got to be huge competition for a Gap.
See, they don't have to take up much, right? I mean, to affect these earnings, just taking a fractional share.
Yeah.
Will really affect you.
And then you look at Dollar General and you're like, who's really competing with that? But anyway, Dollar General same store sales up 4% versus Gap down 4%. And just announced a 32-cent dividend for the quarter. which is like is a little over 1% dividend annually. The earnings per share over $6 versus 24 cents for GAAP.
Incredible.
Revenue is $6 billion. So anyway, Dollar General, big upside for on earnings today. I liked them. Ironic that I just was talking about this on the trip back from Dalton last Saturday.
David, do you realize if everybody took go back, rewind, and watch all of our stock picks over the years. Now, we didn't always take our own advice. We took a lot of it.
They're going to be surprised
They would
why
be rich.
why we're still
why are we doing
every
this?
day.
Because we didn't take our own advice all the time. Now, we did, or we didn't take a lot. I mean, everything from Carvana to WWE.
But if we didn't have the happy hour, people like Tammy would probably go into depression.
Howard Cannon. But I put stock in that guy.
Slocum would be
Man,
really
wouldn't you love
upset.
to have had stock in Slocum?
He'd be really upset if we.
I was there day one of Slocum, and he's come a long way. He's got commercials.
Yes, he's hunting the big bucks.
All right. Well, hey, don't forget about the podcast. Anywhere you can find great
places where you listen to podcasts.
But it's great. Man, he's not bringing it. There he goes. That's right. Great pod. I love it every week. Anyway, that's Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, all those great things. Don't forget to share this if you're listening on the replay or you're live. Hey, you guys, share it out. Anyway, we will see you next week at 4 o'clock.
Have a great weekend.
All right. So long.